How are Tulsa, Oklahoma schools and the surrounding suburbs? Well, if you are thinking about relocating to, Tulsa, Oklahoma or one of the surrounding suburbs, and if you have school-age kids, of course, one of the most important questions that is on your mind is how are the school systems and, what school do you want to send your kids to? And how are Tulsa public schools? How are the surrounding suburbs? So what I am going to do is I am going to dive into my computer with you and share my screen, and I'm going to show you how to look at different site resources and look at data so you can look at each individual school and how it's ranked to help you make an informed decision. And whenever you're looking at a house, I can always tell you, what school district it's in, what elementary school it's in, and so forth. When we're looking at the data, I was in education for 15 years. I was a teacher, I was a high school principal, I was an assistant superintendent. I'm a huge advocate for kids. And one of the things, the testing, the way that schools are tested, I think is a disservice to our kids. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And when I look at these, I was looking at stuff before I started recording this video, and I'm like, oh my goodness, if I show people this, they're not going to want to come to Oklahoma because of the schools. But you just got to remember that the testing is designed to have winners and losers. The funny thing is with school testing, and I feel like it's one of the only things, when people start mastering it, when the students start doing well on something and mastering it, instead of being like, good job, they're learning, they're like, oh, it's not hard enough, like it's too easy, and they change it up. So yes, I think accountability is important. The way that we're testing our students and that we have to, that is, federally and state mandated, I think is wrong, and I think that it is hindering public education. So I'm going to just give you a real look. If you have any questions, specifically, I can drill down even more. If this is interesting to you, please tap that little thumbs up to like it. And if this is your first time to our channel and you're thinking of moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or one of the surrounding suburbs, then tap that little bell notification too and subscribe. That way you'll be the first to know what's going on in our local Tulsa area real estate market. Go over Tulsa, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything there is. And today's video is over schools. I'm Sabrina Shaw. I'm with eXp Realty, and my team and I get calls every single day from people just like you who need help making their move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And let me tell you, I absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, send us a text, jump on a Zoom call, send us an email, and we would love to help you make that seamless move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, so now we are on the computer, and I'm going to show you a couple places to go to look at school ratings, school scores, and so forth. So this is niche.com, and it takes into account, public data. It takes into account reviews and several other things to give it a grade. So it gives Tulsa Public Schools a B-. There's 122 reviews with 3.5 stars. C in academics, C in teachers, A- in clubs and activities, A in diversity, B in college prep, B- in administration. Now, Tulsa Public Schools is huge. There are 12 high schools, I believe, 50 plus elementaries. There are a lot of schools. So each school is different. And so this is an average of Tulsa Public Schools. But the thing about niche.com too is you can put the individual school in. So if you're looking at a house or a neighborhood and you really like it and you're like, oh, you want to see how the public school does, then you can type that specific elementary school or high school into the box, and it will give you a whole nother ranking. This has Tulsa Public Schools ranking 6 as the best district for athletes in Oklahoma. That honestly surprises me. I would have never thought that. Most diverse school district, 17 out of 431 is the most diverse school district. See, here's all the schools on the maps. Academics, Now, this is 19% reading proficiency, 16% math proficiency, 78% graduation rate. Then you go to the high school, the average SAT score is 1,130. The average ACT score is 24. But you just got to look at this caveat. It says with 1,075 responses, with 610 responses. So you just got to take into account that it's not an accountable website. It doesn't have to be accountable to anybody, if that makes sense. But, type in Jenks Public Schools. Okay, Jenks has an A+ rating. A in academics, like A in everything, There's only one Jenks high school where there's so many more, Tulsa high schools. One best districts for athletes. That doesn't surprise me at all. Number 2 in Oklahoma, best school districts. Number 13 for best places to teach. I've heard a lot of people, want to put their kids in Jenks. And I have to be careful how I give information just because I'm a realtor in fair housing. So I just have to stick to data. Let's look at another one. Let's look at Bixby. Bixby Public Schools. A, academics, teachers clubs. B in diversity. A- in college prep. B in administration. The third, ranked number 3, best school districts in the Tulsa area. I didn't look to see what Jenks was. 5 for athletes, number 11 for best school districts in Oklahoma, number 63 for best teachers. Do Owasso. We've got an A in everything, B+ for administration. Number 2 best school district in the Tulsa area. Remember, this is, based on reviews, based on opinions, based on data they're pulling, so it's a mix of things. But Owasso is, I've heard great things about Owasso. Number 2 best districts for athletes in Oklahoma. 8 best school districts in Oklahoma, 40th for teachers. Broken Arrow, B+. Number 6 in best school districts in the Tulsa area. And I apologize when I'm looking at my screen, like I'm not making eye contact with you because I'm looking down here. B for academics, B for teachers, A for clubs, A for diversity, A- for college prep, B for administration. And Broken Arrow is huge. It has 18,000 students, which Tulsa Public is huge too. Okay, so that's one way to look at things. That's niche.com. And like I said, you can go into an individual school itself, and I can give that information to you. So if you're looking at a neighborhood and you're like, what elementary school is this? Well, I can get you the elementary school information. And then you can look that up. Okay, now there's also state and national data. And there's private schools too. There are great private schools. Okay, so I was on the United States Department of Ed, and these are the NAEP results of the nation's report card. And so this is 4th grade national achievement overall. It gives us 4th grade, grade 8, and grade 12 of 2019. So we're not going to look at that. But so for 2019, the nation had a 35% proficient rating. And so what that means, out of all the kids in public schools, 35% were proficient according to NAEP standards. And, we've heard the news headlines say, public education has been going downhill. If you look at this from 1992, it was 29. So the score has been increasing every year. Okay, that just takes us down. You can drill down so much into testing data. I wanted to see the 2022 results. Oh, 33%. Okay. And that makes sense. So in 2019, it was 35% were proficient. In 2022, it was 33% nationwide. And you've got to think those kids had the pandemic. They were out of school. They were doing online virtual school. So, a drop is to definitely be anticipated. Let's go to 8th grade. 31% of 8th graders were at or above proficient. In 2019, it was 34. Again, go back to, 1992, it was 29. So the scores have climbed up. So even though we hear that schools are performing worse, actually since 1992, according to this, they're performing better. But doesn't that sound horrible? 31% of 8th graders at or above proficient in reading. Again, the tests are designed for winners and losers. Once, a certain number of kids meet proficiency, then they're going to throw out questions thinking that it's too easy. So I am definitely biased on the way that they grade our kids. And I think that, in my opinion, we should be teaching thinkers, and, the schools are trying to get back to that, but with them having to take these state tests and being so heavily graded on that, it's a balancing act, because you do want kids to pass tests. You do want, scores to be great, but I don't think that's an accurate description. I do not at all think that our nation is failing that bad. in public ed. Okay, but that takes us to the State Department of Education for Oklahoma and our state report card. We since have a new state superintendent. This is 2020-21 data. Joy Hoffmeister was the superintendent. Now Ryan Walters is. But if we look at our overview, the per pupil expenditure was $9,667 per student was the average. 25% pass statewide. Attendance was 80%, graduation rate. This always surprises me, that we have lower graduation rates. And ELP, which is your English language learners, were 6% passing, 6% proficient, meaning these students that come in not being able to speak English, having to do, courses for second language, having to learn a new language, are tested also. Okay, but so you can go to the Oklahoma State Department of Ed, and let me just show you how to do that. Type in Oklahoma State Department of Education. There it is on my screen. Clicking on it, you just go right here to Oklahoma School Report Card, and you can type in a district. So Tulsa Public Schools. Okay, we're just going to type in Tulsa because it's the district. Okay, see there's 56 elementary schools, 23 middle schools, 13 high schools. Okay, so let's get an overview of the district. As a district, look at that per pupil expenditure. It's more, they spend more per student than the average person spends in state, than the average school district spends per pupil in the state. Okay, assessment performance, the average is 11% proficient compared to 25%, so lower proficiency rate. Attendance proficiency is lower. Graduation is lower, not significantly, in your English language learners. English language proficiency is lower. So that's as a whole. But you've got to think, guys, that was almost 100 schools. So then if you want to, drill down a little bit, like we talked about neighborhoods, okay, like let's go to an elementary school. And it also will tell you, it tells you the principal, it tells you the enrollment, 415 kids, it gives you their website. And like I said, that's a great place to look. And then if we want the overview, and I just picked one. So this assessment performance for this school is 22% compared to the state at 25%. Per pupil expenditure is on par, Tulsa Public. Attendance is lower. Look at their English language proficiency, incredibly high. Okay, let's just look at, I'm going to pull a school that is a high school, Booker T. Washington. It is ranked nationally. It is a very high performing school. And let's look and see how they do. You go to About Our School and you go to Overview. Enrollment, 1,327 kids. Okay. Assessment, okay, 49%, whereas state was 25%. And remember, nationally, and it goes 31%. Now, what this assessment is not the same as the national assessment. So what I'm looking at here is not apples and apples compared to, the nation's report card, but it's still, Booker T's proficiency rate is significantly higher over the nation and over the state. Attendance is higher, graduation rate is exceedingly high, and ELP is very high. Okay, let's put in, so you can look at, we were on niche.com, so let's go to Jenks. Okay, so there's 6 elementary schools in Jenks, 1 middle school, 1 high school. Okay, their total enrollment is 11,979. I'll go back to Tulsa Public because it's a huge district. I want to tell you the numbers. Okay, assessment performance district-wide is 34% proficiency rate. Per pupil spending is a little bit less. Graduation rate is higher, attendance is higher, and ELP is higher. You can drill down. Okay, if we look at Jenks Southeast, 54% performance, lower per pupil expenditure, attendance is higher, ELP is 19%. And remember, testing is only one facet. You do have to look at, what extracurricular activities are they able to offer your child? What is the ratio of students to teachers? So there's plenty of things to look at. Just test scores play such a big part in it. I want to show you why. Or I just want to show you how to look at test scores and just analyze them with a grain of salt. Okay, let's look at, Bixby has 8 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school. Let's look at West Elementary. Go to Overview. 7,100 per pupil expenditure, 89% attendance, 20% ELP. That's pre-K through third grade. Now if we want to go to, and you've got to know, so this is 8 elementary schools, but there's like pre-K through third, which is the elementary school. Then there's the intermediate schools, which are kind of like a middle school. Keep wanting to scroll down and instead of go to overview. 35% proficient, 81 per pupil expenditure, 82% attendance, and 33% ELP. Let's go to Owasso. And I'm just touching on these. I'm touching on the bigger districts, just to give you an idea of a certain facet and how to find it. The more I do it, the more you can do this on your own. Let's go to Owasso. Okay, let's go to elementary schools. Stone Canyon, 36% proficiency, 8,700 roughly per pupil expenditure, 94% attendance, 7% ELP. I haven't been checking out all the high schools, but a little over 2,800 kids. And it gives you like programs of excellence too. So yes, I'm like showing you where to get scores, but like read all the other stuff and go to their websites. 37% proficiency, 8,000 per student, 91% attendance, 90s graduation and beyond, 2% ELP. So when you see something like that, their English language learner program probably doesn't have the same resources as a school with a higher ranking. Okay, let's do Broken Arrow. 20 elementary schools, 6 middle schools, 1 high school. Let's look at the district overview. 27% proficient, 8,000 per pupil. Graduation rate is 84 to 92% through 6 years. Attendance is 83 and ELP is 11%. If we go to 30% proficiency, 82, 85 per pupil, 87, and actually I don't know what, these numbers shouldn't show up at an elementary school. Attendance 83%, ELP is 5%. This is a way to look and to dig deeper. Like if you're one of those people that, just wants a lot of information, then you can get a ton of information. I would just say be careful of how you take it into an account, because like I said, when I look at this, it makes it seem like Oklahoma schools are horrible, and they're not. We have really great schools. We have fantastic teachers. We have successful kids. We have happy kids. We have successful kids that are involved in a lot of things, kids that are well-rounded. This is only one thing. Take a look, when you're looking at a house, we want to go around the neighborhood. We want to go around the school, especially, you're relocating. So you don't know, when you've lived here all your life, you know about the schools, pretty much where they are, what it's like. But when you're in town for relocation, then definitely when you narrow down some houses, go by the schools, too, or, by like, you could do that. Some buyers want to do that first. And so like figure out the school, and then we look at houses based on the school. So, okay, that is checking things out. There's also greatschools.org. And again, this is one of those, this isn't like, this isn't a state website. It doesn't have accountability. It's just gathering, data from several points, interpreting it, the way that it wants to based on, several factors, but not any mandated factors. We want to look at Tulsa. Okay, so this doesn't have Tulsa in here. It's just giving like reviews and 50 preschools, 56 elementary schools, district summary, 17% average, 10% above average, 74% below average. Gives the top 5 schools in the district, again, based on a variety of measures. It does have them ranking, based on their rankings. So there's things to explore. So that is a way to help you get a little bit of an identifier to know, what's going on with the schools. But, nothing's like being here and, talking to people. All right. Well, there you have it. That is one way to drill down in school. But remember, there are so many different things. People, when you survey people, they think in America, public schools are failing as a whole. But when they talk about their individual school, then people really love their individual school. So, if you're friends with a teacher, if you know a teacher, if you are a teacher, you know how hard you work and how much you want to impact the lives of your students. And I think people that go into, for the most part, I think people that go into public education have, a huge heart for kids and just want to make a difference. And there are so many great schools that your kids would be fortunate to be a part of. If you'd like more information about anything, if you want to schedule a visit to come into town and look at some houses, reach out to me and my team, and we would love to show you around town.